The following program on PBS 39 is made possible in part by
Excellence lives here in northeastern Indiana. It's reflected in more than 200 nationally recognized degrees. It drives our Division I sports. It's alive in our campus life. Excellence has a name, IPFW. Around our campus, around the country, around the world. Excellence lives here. Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne. One university, two great names.
This is Arts Weekly. Arts Weekly is presented by the College of Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, offering degrees in fine arts, music, theater, and visual communication and design. IPFW, the energy of the arts. Welcome to this edition of Arts Weekly. There is a lot to tell you today, and you will love hearing from our guests. I'm Melinda Haines with the IPFW College of Visual and Performing Arts. In the second half of the show, we'll be joined by Shepard of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art. But first, we're going to meet Andrea Zwiebel and Teresa Galley of the Honeywell Center in Wabash. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Well, glad that you're here. You made the trip from Wabash. The Honeywell Center in Wabash. Can you tell us about the center and about its mission?
Sure. The mission of the Honeywell Center is to provide cultural, social, recreational, and artistic opportunities for all. We do that through year-round programming in the Ford Theater and through the Honeywell Center Education Outreach Program, which we'll talk about more in depth in a few minutes. But we're just a quick 60 minutes away from Fort Wayne. You can jump off on 69 on Jefferson Boulevard and take 24 all the way on a 4-lane highway to Wabash. And there's certainly less traffic and free parking in Wabash. So,
well, it's just not very far away. I want to make sure that people realize, just a quick little jaunt, and it's a lovely town. And I think people don't realize that the Honeywell Center isn't just a little building. I mean, it's a very big facility with all kinds of different, there's a theater and there are other things. Can you tell us a little bit about what all is in the center?
The building was dedicated in 1952, and in 1994 we built the state-of-the-art Ford Theater, and the current square footage is now 120,000 square feet.
Wow.
So we have a restaurant on site, an art gallery, conference spaces, even a roller skating rink in the basement. So something for everyone at the Honeywell Center.
You're not going to get bored down there. There's just so much to do. That's great. Now, you said it was built in 1952, so this is not a new facility. I want people to realize that you have a very long history of bringing these presentations to the area. Can you tell me a little bit about the history or how it was started?
Sure. The building was a gift to the community from Mark Honeywell, who is the co-founder of what's now known as Honeywell Incorporated. And it's through generosity of people all over that the building still exists today. So
there must have been lots of upgrades to the buildings over the years.
Yes, certainly in 1994 when the large expansion was built on. That's been the most drastic change since the inception in 1952.
Now, you are a charitable organization. How all do you receive your funding for your programs and your educational outreach?
We're a public charity, so it's a wide variety of opportunities and gifts that come in. So anywhere from individual donations to corporate sponsors for concerts.
All kinds of different funding sources. And so, Teresa, the charitable aspect of the Honeywell Center, how does that affect what you do as the educational outreach?
Well, educational outreach provides several services that we'll talk about in a few minutes to our schools and the surrounding areas and our school children. And we do that through sponsorships, through donations, but we are 100% funded by the gifts or grants that we receive. So all that we do for the children is just so important that we have those sponsorships and donations to help us continue to do that.
Well, and that's really part of the mission too, is to be the educational arm to get this information to the children as well.
Absolutely. And when Mark Honeywell founded the foundation, he said all of the opportunities that Andrea referenced for all. At that time, he meant Wabash County, and now we serve between 10 and 14 counties, mostly rural counties in the area around Wabash. And so it's amazing how much his mission has grown over the years.
It's exponential growth, and that's wonderful. Andrea, what is your role with the Honeywell Center?
I'm the program manager, and I have several hats that I wear as the program manager. I manage the Clark Gallery. I also do all of the bookings for the Ford Theater, and I manage a lot of the community events. We have a dinner and chamber music series with classical programming. We have an outdoor summer concert series, just a variety of other things that go on throughout the year beyond our concerts.
So how do you choose which artists come to
That's
Honeywell?
a great question, and we get that question quite often. There's really 3 ways that we collect information, and one, of course, is from patrons. And so you can email, you can Facebook, you can call us, and we keep a database, and we look at that database often to make sure we aren't missing anyone. Even though we couldn't do it a few years ago, maybe we can do it sooner. And then we have a couple industry reports that we reference and check, and so we can see how artists are faring in other markets and if they're selling well in venues our size. And then I also have relationships with the artist agents, and so we stay up on who's touring and who will be coming through Indiana.
That's a big calendar that you've put together to make that happen.
Very big calendar.
So I'm guessing that you've got some special stuff coming up for the holidays.
We do. Actually, I thought I'd mention even what's coming up sooner than that. And a week from tomorrow, we have Savion Glover, and he is best known as the choreographer of the movie Happy Feet. And he'll be coming up just again a week from tomorrow, Friday the 26th of October, and that is part of the Wabash Valley Music Association series. And that's a unique opportunity for anyone that'd like to come and experience the Honeywell Center. There are 6 shows left on the series, and they happen between now and June, and you get a very deep discount by purchasing all 6 tickets at once. So that would be a great show to start off with.
Little cherry on top there, just for that.
And then just a really exciting show we have coming up in November. Then on November 16th, we have Chicago the Band, not to be confused with Chicago the Musical. And the band is so popular, it's nearly sold out. So if anyone's interested in coming to see that, I recommend they go online and purchase their tickets sooner rather than later.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
And then for the holiday lineup, we have a wide variety all throughout the year, but particularly during the holidays, we put an active effort to make sure we have something for everyone. And so we have Max and Ruby in the Nutcracker Suite.
And what is that? That's it's just interesting sounding show.
Sure.
I'm guessing
it is
family oriented.
It is family oriented, and the show is made specifically to be introductory experience to children. So it's a quick 60 minutes, usually no intermission. So it's great to bring the whole family for a holiday show, and that is December 4th.
December 4th.
That's coming.
So is it an animated show?
No, it's actually life-size. There'll be the signature white bunnies. There'll be puppets, basically large human-sized costumes, and then there'll be other human interaction with ballerinas, because of course they're seeing a ballet, and there'll be music involved. So a stage production.
Well, that sounds like an awful lot of holiday fun. And you've got the Fort Wayne Philharmonic coming back to your area as well?
We do. It's an annual holiday tradition. It's almost always the Wednesday before Christmas, and we're following that tradition again this year. So we're happy to always partner with the Fort Wayne Philharmonic and have them come present the holiday pops.
It's nice for them to be out in the region where people can go through there. Teresa, explain what your role is as the educational outreach manager.
Okay. Well, we find that providing arts and education opportunities to students is becoming more and more crucial because of budget cuts and things that are just limiting the amount of arts exposure that our students have in the schools. So my role is to schedule residency artists who come into the area for usually a week to 2 weeks, and they visit the schools. Usually we have 2 or 3 schools in a day that they will visit and perform. We've had Indianapolis Opera, songwriters, performers, and we have had just a myriad of opportunities for the children, and I coordinate those opportunities with the schools.
And how many schools do you work with?
Last year we worked with more than 80 schools in a 10-county radius around Wabash, and served just over 41,500 students between our residency program and then our bus and matinees. And,
I was going to ask, is it, does it work both ways, that the students come to your facility as well as you taking?
Absolutely. We have 4 opportunities this year for the students to come to the Honeywell Center. The next one is coming up, or the first one of the year is coming up next week on October 25th. And so we have various performances, usually literature brought to the stage, but this time it's a performance called We the People, and it's going to take what the students have been learning in the classroom about the election and bring it to the stage in a musical and theatrical performance. So the presidents are going to be on stage singing about all of the things the students have been learning, and we were so lucky to get this just 2 weeks before the national election.
Yeah, well, definitely educational and entertaining all at the
Absolutely,
same time. You really
yes.
can't beat that. It sounds like that's how a lot of your programs work. So you have a country singer who is coming up too. Can you tell me a little bit about what his program is?
We do. The first week of November, Aaron Barker will come to visit us from Nashville. He's bringing Gary Chapman along with him. They're both Grammy Award-winning songwriters, and they will be visiting mostly our high school students, and they'll talk about the music industry, how to break into it, roles that might not be as obvious, not just being the performer on the stage, but writing songs, writing commercials, and ways that you can really thrive in the music industry that may not be as obvious to our children.
So is that a program that you take out to the schools?
We do. We take Aaron and Gary out to the schools. Again, same situation. They're usually in 2 schools a day, and they just travel around our schools and talk about these opportunities. So.
Then you have a songwriter too. Is he a country songwriter? Or no?
Steve Seskin.
From Nashville, yeah.
Yes,
Seskin.
Steve will be following Gary and Aaron, and the difference between Steve is that he does perform in the elementary schools. Steve does a one-day workshop at the school, so he's at the same school for the entire day. He meets with several classes during the day, and the children write a song with him.
Oh, what a wonderful
So they have their own
experience.
original song at the end of the day, and then they do an assembly, and he has an anti-bullying theme in that assembly. The children perform the song they wrote, but they also talk about a very important topic. Both Gary and Aaron and Steve will be performing a public performance while they're here. Aaron's will be on November 8th at 7 o'clock p.m. At the Eagles Theater, which falls under the umbrella of the Honeywell Foundation and is just a couple blocks down the street from the Honeywell Center. And then a week later on the 15th, Steve will be doing a public performance at the same venue. So we're excited to have them.
Well, that's wonderful. So for more information, people can go to your website, which is?
www.honeywellcenter, that's all one word, .org.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here. The Honeywell Center is a regional treasure. Don't miss a chance to take in a show. As we get ready for our next guest, please take a minute to view our performance calendar of what is coming up in our area, and keep in mind that you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'll be right back with Charles Shepard of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art. Joining me is Charles Shepard, Director of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art. He's here to tell us about a few of the upcoming exhibits, including one opening this weekend. Welcome, Charles.
Linda, thank you. Delighted to be here.
Well, I am very excited to talk about this event that's opening up, the Day of the Dead. I think that there are so many people who have the wrong impression of what Day of the Dead is, and I would love for you to tell us what it is and what it isn't and what people can expect.
And how to correct